Okay, so I don't know if anybody's actually waiting, but if you are, apologies for waiting so long. It's only 10 minutes over, which is kind of almost average for me. It's actually not even that bad. Dang, I'm gonna have to do something about a certain a certain deal here. Go to moderation. Um, Turn that on. That that'll be one thing. Now the only thing is, where would I? We'll save changes here. Community chat. Okay, that's not anything. Uh, access. Allow viewers to post links in the chat. Yeah, I guess we can make sure that's off. That's just my own rules. Moderation. I could have banned word. Hmm. Make sure. See, hold on, just a second. I'll be starting in just a moment. Um, chat settings. Spam gibberish. Okay. Um, banned words. Um, that any text show up. Okay, I guess I won't worry about that. I did set up the Stream. Oh, there is one thing I can do though. Let's go back to moderation. Go back down to ban words. Wait, a word as a phrase. And then what else? What else? What else? Let's go to. That's gone from there. So stream a new tab. And that's gone. Okay, good, 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 good. So pardon me. Pardon me for that. Okay, so let's get back to work. Okay, back to business. Back to business. Back to the business. Cool. So we got somebody in kick. That shouldn't be me because I'm looking at the dashboard. I'm not looking at it from user standpoint. So kick should have two people. Twitch is the same way. One person. Rumble has two because one of them is going to be me, so that's only one. And then nobody's on YouTube. On the stream on YouTube is what I mean. Thanks for everyone that's joining in so far. Thus far. Hey, streaming. Okay, so what do we got? We got till. Okay, so I got really an hour and 15. I know I kind of fiddled around a little bit, but you know sometimes some of the stuff is necessary. Um, you can see I already kind of started here. I just I used the trigger words that I created yesterday. Let's continue channel and use 7-step process. Okay. Um, so I'm going to ask it if it understands the purpose of the 7-step process. And the purpose of the 7-step process. Okay. See, three messages remaining, which it kind of gets me. I don't mind if it drops down to a lower tier thing here, but I guess this is a new thing. So the new thing is to extremely limit, uh, how much of the top tier deal that you do. So that's okay. I mean, I'm not doing anything that requires anything like advanced or nothing. So just the standard free thing is probably fine, I guess. I'm still looking for what would cause me to upgrade. I wasn't gonna do it, but maybe I'll do it anyways. I really should start on the game, but I'm gonna do a brief ask of Leo to tell me. Um, okay. Um, what would cause me to upgrade a paid subscription on any of the frontier AI providers over just using any of the free ones. And here's when it's worth it. Hit rate limits frequent. No, I do kind of get that with ChatGPT now because I think it's the when they introduced the what was it, Go, which is that $8 tier, which includes ads. So they have the free and they have the $8 tier, and then of course your plus is your $20, and then of course you have the big one that I wouldn't be able to pay for it even if I wanted to. Um, so so yeah, I suppose so they're trying to make money, and so they introduce ads. They introduce a tier um, that still does ads, but it's cheaper. Um, and so, I mean, I kind of understand that sort of, but in so doing, they went and for the most advanced models, they decided to limit the free tier even more. So probably the Go tier is probably what the free tier used to be. That's my thought. My thought is the equivalent, and then the plus is severely limits that, so that you'll want to upgrade. Advanced reasoning. Paid tiers offer advanced models with larger context windows and better deep dive capabilities for analyzing online document content, additional content creation or coding. Um, the exclusive features, paid plans unlock image generation. That's kind of the one thing. Like, I don't strictly need image generation right now, but when I start concepting, even now in this early stage, I'm going to start concepting. It could speed things up. It could help me get some of the visual stuff there. So um, so that might be a reason. But then also can do free image generation in a couple places, like Discord. There was one deal for that, or I could learn how to download and do some of the stuff locally, or there's some free stuff available. Hmm. Okay, well, while rate limits vary, I can generally switch to different free options when one um, runs out until a reset. Mm, mm. And Grok and ChatGPT actually default to a lower, I would say a lower tier model, a lower, I guess less capable model when your time is up. And usually for me so far, um, I haven't really needed anything that has to be super smart. The only exception can be code later, but even that, I'm not heavily doing coding right this second. Okay, so I'm building the game. Eventually, it's going to be a fully interactive point and click adventure, uh, possibly 3D sprites in a 3D environment when it's done. I'm doing it in phases where I expand the story and also expand the uh, engine, my own system for my adventure game. Capabilities with each phase, each iteration phase. Hold on. Starting with phase 1, where it's closer to a choose your own adventure sort of interactive story. Eventually adding things until it becomes a full-blown blown parser-based text adventure. And then adding audio visual components to finally being a full interactive point and click game. Bridging between them, smart strategy for early stage development for a paced adventure game. If a paid AI subscription becomes worth it. Narrative depth and consistency. Free models can struggle with long-term story coherence as your game grows. Paid tiers. Okay, so there is a thing, right? Because I'm doing the game and the story myself. I'm not letting it write it. So I don't necessarily need that deep or long-term story coherence. But if if I was able to store the whole game, and I don't even know if I can even do that because that's a lot of text, you know. But if I'm able to do that, and I upload it, then when I try to do something and it looks like it's out of character or I don't explain something in the plot or whatever, I could actually use the AI to help me fix those issues to make it solid, right? I'd still be all the ideas would still be my own. Get some schoolwork done. Yeah, yeah, uh, yeah. Probably better get on that. Okay. Anyways, um, okay. So, I just thought of that because I have some things that I put in my notes. I wonder. Um, it's a lot of pages. I'll even ask Leo here, um, if about my note, putting my notes as a document, like uploading it, right? Now, I don't know how big of uploads I can do to any of these deals because they're all free right now. But I wonder if any one of these could actually handle my full document, 200 and something pages, and maybe Gemini, right? Because it's got the million context window. I don't know what that translates into pages. Maybe it's still, maybe my document's still too big. But if I could do that and I could put all that stuff in there, then I don't necessarily have to remember a lot of that stuff. Because right now, if I want to remember something, I'll have to go through my notes because they're not really organized right now. They're just a single, you know, deal. Actually, I could actually have it create a doc. I could have it take my notes, create a document that that doesn't that organizes all the information and gets rid of the duplicates. I mean, yeah. I mean, that would help, right? Because I would need a paid one, right? Okay. As you move from text to the free tools, hit limits, pay platforms, let you train your AI on your art style and generate thousands of consistent assets, voice and audio without hiring talent, tools like Replica. Yeah, that's right. AI voice acting. Shoot. By the time I'm ready to do voice acting and stuff, I bet you the tools would be like top notch, right? And I wouldn't even need to hire people to do that. Which I know it's kind of sad, right? Because really, people that can do voices and stuff are really cool, and you want to give somebody some work, and I understand that, but I don't have, I don't have the experience and I don't have the money to actually do the thing where you like record everything and blah 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 blah. By the time I get there to that point, the AI should be able to do the creativity and the whole nine yards. So I should be able to tell it, I want this kind of a voice and do this, and you know, and as long as I have all the dialogue in there, it will be able to create all the files and stuff that I need. That's actually kind of interesting thought, huh? Hmm. Okay. Um, Free models give scripted replies. Paid AI like in-world AI or Charisma AI creates NPCs with memory, emotion, and goals. Parser-based adventure, faster duration. $1 a month. A cursor. Write and debug game logic faster, especially useful. Um, yeah. So, as far as actual assets, we'll have to see when I get there. That won't be for quite a while. But while I'm doing the text phases, I can start using AI image gen for concept art and the like. And I can still use various free tools. Let's see. Great for consistent care. Like you're on AI. 1,000 free images a day, ideal for rapid iteration on moves, scenes, and styles. 3D model generation. Shoot, I need to. Yeah, I'll need to when free is enough. Feature triggers. Style drift and assets. Paid tools like Leonardo Pro and Midjourney offer better consistency. Need commercial rights. Some free tiers require attribution or ban commercial use. Batch generation. Paid plans let you generate hundreds of sprites and frames at once. Oh. When I talk about paid models, I mean something $20 to $30 a month, like Super Grok or at GPT Plus, or even Quad and others. I don't have enough money to pay for a lot of specialized AI tools. Oh, that's a search. Okay. Most versatile, right? Yes. Grok 30. Oh, okay. Um, let's see. We're gonna estimate. I'm gonna estimate a max of 600 pages. Okay. So, as far as context windows go, I have a document with my game notes that is unorganized and has about 250 pages or 260 pages, or let's see. Let's actually pull that up though. How many pages we're at? At 278 pages. So far. Um, just a standard ODT document made in your office, and any one of those frontier AI models or services, I guess services, handle a document of this size. T78, your document may exceed its effective context window, especially if content's in the middle. Lost the middle effect. Each chunking, okay. Best fit can just entire 278-page doc in one go, though performance may slow and middle content could be less recalled. Google, preprocess your ODT, and then recently, oh, okay. So, Google, I guess, just got hacked, or I don't know if they actually got hacked for the way it sounds. I think Google hacked. Did Google Gemini? It's Gemini. I mean, get hacked. It has something to do with the free keys, or they had these keys that supposedly weren't used for like security, like login credentials or anything like that. But supposedly, these keys were in existence before Gemini, and then when Gemini happened, then uh, I guess a lot of these keys were able to be somehow use Gemini, somehow hacked into it. Not been hacked in the traditional sense. Researchers demonstrated serious security vulnerabilities allow indirect control of AI under specific conditions. Indirect prompt injection checks in August 2025, research from Tel Aviv University, Technion, and Safe Breach demonstrated that Gemini could be hijacked using poisoned Google Calendar invites. Malicious prompts to summarize the calendar. Real world. Activating boiler. The researchers successfully controlled smart home devices such as turning lights on and off, opening windows, activating a boiler, without the user's consent. This marked the first known case of generative AI being hacked to cause physical world consequences. Additional research revealed that invisible malicious prompts could get Gemini into generating fake security alerts or stealing data when summarizing messages. Okay. Implemented. Okay. Cryptocurrency hacked in 2024. That's not related to it. I thought there was something about Gemini API keys being exploited. Not direct hack Google's private privilege escalation. Google API keys used for plug services like Maps or Firebase were silently granted access to Gemini's generative language API when it was enabled on a project. This happened without warnings or opt-in, turning previously saved public keys into sensitive credentials. No developer notification. Keys embedded in websites, GitHub repos, or apps following Google's own guidance suddenly gain access to private files, cached AI context, and billable AI usage. February 2026, security firm Truffle Security identified 2863 live API keys exposed in public code that could access Gemini. Affected organizations include financial institutions, security firms, and even Google itself. Exploitation risk, data theft. Attackers could access uploaded documents, PDFs, and AI conversation history. Financial fraud. Unlimited Gemini API calls could rack up thousands in charges. Service disruption. Single service privilege escalation. Blocking leak keys from accessing Gemini. Scope defaults for new AI Studio keys. Proactive alerts for exposed keys. How do you know how to make audit or revocation of affected keys? Developers must act. Audit projects with generative language API enabled. Rotate any API keys exposed in code. Okay. So if you're using and if you're not using any API keys, then you're fine. Correct? If you're not using any Google API and are only using Gemini through standard web, developers and organizations that have enabled generative language API on their Google Cloud project using API keys, especially older ones meant for maps that may have been exposed in code. Regular Gemini users are not at risk from specific API key issue. Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, I think my dad had something on his phone that was like a Google Calendar invite or something. Maybe it wasn't an invite though, so I guess I could be wrong. Um, okay, let's go back to. Okay, so I would have to. So let's say I broke it up into several chunks. I guess that's what you mean by chunking. Um, and I fed each into an AI for analysis. Um, would they be able to treat each chunk as one document? Because if I want to organize my information and maybe remove duplicate info, say reorganize, not just organize, reorganize information, maybe remove duplicate info. Um, each chunk, all chunks. It really needs to treat it like one document, cross-referencing each chunk so that it knows what's duplicate and how all the information is stored. Like persistent memory across sessions and can't cross-reference content between chunks unless explicitly provided. Simulate whole document analysis using this workflow. Use overlapping chunks to preserve context at boundaries. Feed chunks sequentially to the AI, prompting it to build a summary, index, or map incrementally. Use AI to extract entities, themes, or duplicate phrases, then compare outputs post-processing. Leverage external tools to detect duplicates via vector similarity across chunks. Let's see. Huh. Let me do something here. Let's go to ChatGPT again, and we're gonna go to a new conversation. So let's say I have a large ODT document, 278 pages. I wanted you to analyze. I realize there's other tools better for this, but I'm just using ChatGPT right now because that's what I'm working with. I might would do Google or something else. It will duplicate info and or reorganize the info in a more uh, logical configuration. um, I'm informed that most AI models even paid ones, most AI subscriptions, tools, even paid ones, uh, aren't able to handle a document this size. But would there still be a way to do so? The way to do so by splitting it up, but still being able to handle it as though it were a single document. Most AI tools choke if you toss it. They don't read books so much as sit through them in very small straw, but you can absolutely make the AI behave as it's working with one giant document by turning a disciplined, well-trained librarian instead of a speed reader on espresso. The core trick. You split the document, but you don't have to let the AI forget what it's already seen. Think of it building a living master outline, recommended workflow, phase one, structural pass, no editing yet. Understand the document before touching it. Split the ODT into logical chunks, not arbitrary page counts. Use natural boundaries, sections, chapters, major headings. Ideal size per chunk, 5 to 15 pages. That's a 15 pages. That's still a lot of chunks. For each chunk to a plain text or markdown. ODT to TXT. I mean, that's fine. Okay, I get it. Feed chunks one at a time. Uh, saying analyze this as part of a larger document. Do not rewrite yet. Extract structure themes, repeated ideas, and purpose after each chunk. Um, you can save this output as a growing master outline, concept index, repetition log. Phase two, cross chunk intelligence, the secret sauce. Make it behave like it remembers the whole book. For every new chunk, you prepend the current master outline, a list of known duplicate topics, the terminology glossary so far. Then you can say compare this chunk against the existing outline and duplication list, identify redundant sections. Now the AI is detecting duplicates across chunks. Phase three, reorganization blueprint, still no rewriting. Ask for a clean, logical table of contents, merge sections where redundancy exists, recommended cuts or consolidations, reorder workflow. Now you have a surgical plan. Okay. Controlled rewrite, optional but powerful. Rewrite section X for a new structure. AI has fed a rolling memory. Rewrite serially, structure first, edits later, inconsistent tone. Turn the AI into an editor, architect, and janitor. It's almost like I should just do it manually, because it's going to take a lot of work to put it into chunks and then say, okay, identify this, this, and this, and then do this, and then do that, and the other thing. And I mean, I guess I could physically do it myself. Huh. It's kind of interesting. Although it almost seems like enough work to prepare this that I could I could do just as well manually reorganizing. Very actually, honestly, you're not wrong. At first glance, it does look like you're doing a lot of setup just to get an assistant who still needs assisting. Point twist. Prep work is front loaded once. The payoff scales brutally in your favor. Let me explain. Um, if you reorganize manually, you read 278 pages again, you remember or forget where similar ideas appeared. You constantly think, wait, I didn't already explain this to your brain becomes a fragile, caffeine powered index. Um, Never get tired. Never forget earlier section. Never skim accidentally. You stay in the edge of the eye becomes the hyperliteral intern who highlights everything suspicious. The key insight to this part that changed mine, you don't have to do all the prep. You only do the part humans are bad at once. Rereading the same concept, where did I define this? Um, Split into 10, 20-page chunks, no fancy labeling. Ask only one question per chunk. What's in the section likely duplicated elsewhere in the document? That's it. Hmm. Um, okay. Hmm. I'll still think about it because I can essentially use search to find all of the info for, say, a specific character by searching their name, and I can actually compile a list of data for that character specifically. Or I can go by uh, uh, story beats, and or whatever. I mean, there are ways. I suppose it could take me a human longer, but at the same time still seems like a lot of work. It's like writing a letter. You could fire up a word processor um, and compose your letter, but it might be just quicker and easier to whip out a pencil and paper and then print, but maybe write your letter and send it by hand. Isn't Kenny idea? It's fun. Does it? When does friction outweigh benefit? Having an index backed by global search, guided by your mental model of the story, that's powerful because you know the material, you recognize intent, not just keywords. You can judge nuance instantly. For character-centric work, like everything Hebert does, this is often faster than AI. In other words, pencil wins when the letter is short, memory wins when the story is familiar. Where the analogy gets even sharper, let me extend your pencil versus word processor metaphor in just one. Handwriting is faster for one letter, one pass, one idea. Word processors win when you revise later, you reorganize again, you reuse content elsewhere, you change structure of the facts. The real question is, am I reorganizing once or am I going to touch this thing multiple times? It's mostly a single cleanup pass. Pencil is king. If it's a living document, the tool starts paying the rent. It starts paying rent. Hidden costs you're avoiding. You're already doing something smart by not overtooling. No setup tax, no constant, no context repeating, no AI babysitting. No wait, didn't we already cover this? The overhead is real. A lot of people pretend it isn't. You're not wrong to say this feels like more work than just doing it. Sometimes it absolutely is. The one place humans quietly bleed time. Only caution flag I'll raise, just one promise. Humans are excellent at finding what they're looking for. Humans are terrible at noticing what they weren't looking for. Search works great when you ask where is character X. It works less great for where did I explain this concept in three slightly different ways across 200 pages. That's where one area of word fatigue sneaks in unnoticed. hybrid that matches your instincts, very low effort. Might be more your speed. Keep doing exactly what you're doing. When you finish a character or beat, copy that compiled section. Ask, does this contain ideas to be better placed elsewhere, or it seem redundant? That's it. No giant setup, no master outline, no grand plan. Just a second set of eyes. Work you already did. Pencil analogy is accurate. If you know the material well, you're moving fast, you're reorganizing this focus fast. This manual is perfectly rational. AI steps being worth it only when you're tired of being the index. Until then, write the letter by hand. You can always type it up later if it turns into a manifesto. Okay, that's fine. Uh, okay. Makes you wonder if I couldn't get the AI to write write, let's say, a Python script to process my document. Process my document. Uh, to a point I can use. Combine this where you leverage automation without trying to feed 278 pages straight into AI. Chunk the document automatically, detect chapters, headings, or page breaks. Extract key info. Detect duplicates. Convert ODT to plain text. From Python, for example, extract by keyword could scan the text and reproduce CSVs. Could use duplicate detector, could use simple hashing or NLP libraries to spot repeated paragraphs. Review outputs, you could still manually verify results, but the grunt work of hunting repeats and indexing is done. Basically, you'd be building a semi-automated assistant that works faster than pure manual search, but without all the AI setup overhead. Hmm. Um, right now, thanks. But um, I think the first thing would be the duplicate stuff. Um, would be the duplicate stuff and some things that aren't exact duplicates. Maybe I rewrote something, but they're part of the same thing, and then I could identify what's different and add that. Oh, I don't care, it's stupid. I think true first paragraphs, lines, or ideas are basically repeated verbatim. That cleans up the obvious clutter without risking loss of anything new. If for near duplicates are related, you can compare side by side, see what's unique in each. This variation is perfect. You're triaging your content. Hmm. Okay. Okay, well, I need to get back to working on the game. So thanks. Yeah, and I guess I only have half an hour in this part now, so like I might not even get part of chapter 11 done today. I guess I guess I should do all of this stuff offline because it's not part of the game directly, right? So I don't know. I guess I'm wasting time. Okay. Um. Yeah. Let's do this. Um. Let's delete that. Quicksilver Chronicles. Okay. Okay. So the point is to find out if I should put a decision point here. So here's beat 1 from chapter 11. Um, Actually, here, we're going to do the whole chapter. Oh, that's 12, 13, 15. It's actually, now it's actually 11. I don't think I'd change any of this, so 11, 12, and 14. Okay. Uh, in each story beat. So first, here's the full chapter with each paragraph or line paragraph or line grouping is a single beat. Okay. Even though the process doesn't address decision points between story beats, occasionally they do prop up. So keep that in mind. Okay, I guess here, let's go to favorites and let's actually start this up here. I don't know how much I'm gonna get done here in this part. I guess I'm still kind of like I said, I'm still kind of wasting time, I guess. I gotta kind of figure that out. I have to figure out like okay, so I want to present everything that I do in the game on stream, right? So that's everything. That doesn't mean that I have to everything that has to do with concerning it has to be on stream. In other words, like deciding whether to upgrade to AI or how do you merge the document? Well, actually, that could be considered something to put on the stream, right? Because I'm showing you how I do it, right? So things where I don't show you where it's not important that you know how I do it, right? And that shouldn't necessarily be okay. The machine, which size dwarf? Okay. I just want to make sure that these are the same, and I was just kind of trying to do that. Okay, and I copy that, and then we're gonna go into okay. So let me know when you access this chapter. I mean, it does it instantly, but moving, setting, discovering Num Kingdom, dialogue beats. Uh, Now, I'm gonna go ahead and repaste it. So copy. Yes, but I will go ahead and paste the contents of the particular beat each time, and then you can ask me questions via the 7-step process to determine if we put in a decision point or not. I already have an idea for this beat, but we'll take it one beat at a time and see. See, now it's doing it. I don't know if I should I let it do it, or should I have it ask me the questions? That's gonna be okay, maybe. See, primarily action, something Max initiates, or reaction, something happening to him or others without his active input. Max arrives, action. Step 1, conclusion, action. Step 2, meaningful choice available. Could the player realistically make a choice here? Player likely observing Max, not controlling him. Max's decision seems meaningful. No meaningful. Could exit early, but let's check the next step briefly for player possibility. Can the choice affect story or character state? Even if a choice existed, would it change the story progression, character knowledge, or status? Max action, deterministic, no branching. The story requires the gates to open for later beats. Step 3, conclusion, no. Consequences immediate or delayed. Outcome is delayed, but fixed. Actually, I might let it go ahead and do this for each beat and let it do it itself, determine it. Because that could make things a lot quicker too, you know? I mean, maybe this is a thing that I don't need to do myself. I have it determine it, and then, of course, if there are no story beats, or there's not enough, or whatever, um, then I could go in and say, well, um, yeah, outcome is delayed. Later, rolling Quicksilver start but fixed. Irrelevant because no choice. Step 5 is the outcome distinguishable. The gate's opening is visually plot distinguishable, but again fixed. Because no choice exists. Would a choice make the player feel engaged, informed? Buttons needed. Um, Maybe we should just say yes. Yes, please. We're gonna do it. We're gonna let it do it here. Start the sentence. Action 1. Roland approach to the entrance. Action. The old dwarf delivers news. Reaction. Roland decides to go to the mines. Action. Mixed, but primarily action for Roland. Meaningful choice. Could the player realistically choose what Roland does here? Go in the mines, ask the dwarf more questions, hesitate, or turn back. Natural point where player choice could exist since Roland's decision is explicit. Okay, so I don't know if I should stop it here or if I should let it go through the things because all of these are everything is determined. In other words, he for sake of doing it, he has to go in there. That doesn't mean that I can't have a choice in there, even a non-flavor choice, even an action choice, depending on how he does it, right? Going to hesitate. Okay. Um, Actually, here's a 3 messages remaining. I suppose that that this is per conversation, which means it's not as restrictive as I thought it was. I was thinking, so maybe multiple conversations, they have the same amount of, you know, of limit or whatever. Here's a good stopping point to see if um here's a good stopping point because I need to discuss uh this idea of um, the meaningful choice. So the story and storyline is fixed. So the outcomes or the end of the beat or whatever would still remain the same. So in this case, Roland can't decide whether or not to go into the mines because that's part of the story. So he can't turn back. Hesitation, sure, but that's only for um, character flavor. Basically, um, let's see. So turning back isn't an option. However, I'm supposed to identify places where I could conceivably uh, let's see, allow the player to make some decisions to decide how they experience the story. And don't get me wrong, I don't mean every decision has to be um, a flavor decision. Let's see if I can come up with an instance. In the beginning, in the older version, before I rebooted, that is before I organized into smaller chapters, uh, Hubert has to find some external help. So he uses his crystal ball. Now, ultimately, he decides on John, but there are two other candidates. And so the decision points are about how he comes up with his decision. This isn't merely flavor, it's just that part of the story lends itself to several decision points. I came up with a pattern that allowed me allows the player to choose one of three, and if they didn't choose the correct choice, then they got a choice of doing uh, one of the two remaining candidates, depending on which one they chose for the first option. Eventually, it goes back to John. Worst case scenario is that the player has to go through all three uh, choices. The player has to go through all the three choices, taking up some time. Uh, and best case is they pick the right one from the outset. Am I being clear? Being clear enough? Don't think I'm trying to. I know it's not a person, but still, it still takes what you say a certain way. Don't think I'm trying to scold. I'm trying to ask if uh, I'm explaining things well. You know, the story is fixed. The main events have to happen. Roland enters the mind. Hubert chooses John, etc. The player choice isn't about changing the outcome. It's about how the player experiences the journey. Decision points exist in the path to the fixed outcome, not the ultimate result. Crystal ball example illustrates perfectly. The player is given three candidate choices, and they pick wrong. The story gently nudges them into the next candidate. Eventually, they always end up at John, but the sequence and sense of agency changes. Best case, player wins by picking the right choice immediately. The worst case, player goes through the full loop, but story still flows naturally. In other words, these are meaningful experiential choices. They engage the player in thinking, guessing, or experimenting without breaking the narrative. They're not flavor only because they directly affect the player's sense of participation, even though the outcome is fixed. So as you explain, well, the distinction is subtle but crucial. Fixed outcomes versus flexible experience paths. If you want to conceptualize a quick rule of thumb for spotting these kinds of experience decision points, where you're going through your beats, it might make running the 7-step process smoother. Uh, yes, please. That would be dandy. I use the word dandy. Whatever. Let's make a wizard approved rule of thumb for spotting these. Check the story's hard stops. Ask, does the story require this beat to happen? If yes, outcome's fixed. You're only playing with how it's experienced. Look for multiple plausible paths to that beat. Could the player try different options, explore different approaches, talk to different NPCs in a different order? Even if all paths converge, these are potential experience choices. Identify meaningful mental engagement. The player should feel like they're thinking or guessing, make a deliberate choice, or experiment to see an alternate path. Distinguished from flavor only choices. Flavor choice, does Roland sigh dramatically or shrug? Purely expressive, no engagement. Experience choice, which candidate would Hubert consult first? Affects sequence and player perception, even though the story outcome is fixed. Best worst case analysis. Player chooses correct path, skips unnecessary steps. Worst, wrong path sees extra content, but story still flows. Both are fine because the outcome is guaranteed. It's about player experience, not story branching. Mark these for the 7-step process when running a beat. Meaningful choice available, yes. If experience choice exists. Step 3 affects character story state. Actually, usually no, but unless you track things like Hubert considered a candidate first. Step 7 engagement. Yes, because the player feels involved in the journey even though the destination is fixed. In short, Fixed outcome plus multiple ways to reach it, plus player engagement. Valid experience to the point. Uh, um, yeah. Um, yes. Um, not just yet. Um, there's no tracking in this phase. It's just forward, and if I want a state tracked, then generally speaking, it needs to exist um, until the end. So I flip on a light switch. I have to make sure the light switch is still on later. Um, how to say that? You can't have an outcome where it's off but can also be on. It's gotta be on until the story requires it to be off again. Does that make sense? Persistent state. Something changes in the world like a light switch. It only counts as tracked if the state persists until it's explicitly changed later. Temporary choices are actions that don't carry forward, don't need tracking because they don't influence later beats. Mostly linear forward. Most actions are just flavor, immediate cause and effect, not true state, unless you want to remember. So yes, the track state is basically a memory that story keeps until something deliberately flips it, otherwise it's a transient event. Okay. Um, not yet. Another thing I should probably explain. Okay. Eh. Um, Later phases will have a state tracking system because it will be useful for returning to the same location, having inventory, puzzles, etc. But this is just a simplified form of a CYOA. The reason being that each phase is meant to only increment the story and system gradually, so I don't have too much to overwhelm me and keep my head around. So essentially, I'm writing a choose your own adventure that only has one ending, and no looping, or an interactive story. It's less of a game than a full CYOA style story. Okay. No looping, you move forward, no branching endings. Story always reaches the same conclusion, minimal state tracking, ephemeral choices, immediate consequences or flavor, nothing persists across beats. Later phases will layer in full state tracking for inventory puzzles, revisits more complex logic. In short, phase one is like dipping your toes in magical interactive story waters before unleashing the full readout power I don't know. It has to do with this personality thing, which is kind of dumb. Also means that experience decision points are mostly for player engagement, not narrative divergence, which fits exactly with the earlier crystal ball example. We can keep going. The 7-step filtering beats whenever you're ready, fully armed with this mindset. Um, well, my time is up for part one. I stream in 2 sessions. Um, so uh, we'll resume when I get back, which for you probably won't mean anything. It will just be like instant, but for me it will be an hour. Okay, so I want to say thanks everybody uh, for watching part one, and I'll see you in an hour. Thank you for watching part one.